Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Thanks for answering that.
Very really, and I.
And I always tell people all the time, I say, I'm talking about is specialty. And it's access, because it's not always fire, it's always guys. We got to get over it, because you know, second, especially somewhere that wants to. Yeah.
I'm good for the speak, the mic's on.
So, make the net also, I can see the full screen.
Yes.
Being 6:31, we'll open the March 5th, 2025 planning zone. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
of the United States of America and to the republic. Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public participation. If you wish to address the commission, please fill out a public meeting card. Do I need to say this whole thing if there's nobody here? Okay. Approval of minutes, discussion and consider the approval of the October 2nd, 2024 planning and zoning commission meeting.
I did not notice anything to anyone else.
Yeah, they look good, like, yes.
Motion,
The motion we approve the minutes as is.
One second.
John, second.
Did it over.
All in favor? Conduct a public hearing on. Hear public comment, discuss, and make recommendations to the town council regarding an ordinance amending the town of Bartonville comprehensive plan, section 4 thoroughfare plan to update public road design standards, town of Bartonville, file number CPA 2025-001.
You can go ahead and read agenda item number 2 as well.
Agenda item number 2 is conduct a public hearing to hear public account, discuss and make recommendations to town council regarding an ordinance amending the town of Bartonville Code of Ordinances, Exhibit 10A, Development Ordinance, Appendix B, Appendix A, Engineering Design Standards, to update public road design standards and drainage standards, town of Bartonville, file number COA 2025-001. Staff.
Acting Town Administrator Chief Riggs will start the presentation and then I'll transfer it over to Ryan.
Chair, Commissioners, good evening. The town of Bartonville desires to adopt revisions to the road width and drainage standards. This requires an amendment to the comprehensive plan, specifically section 4, thoroughfare plan, and update to engineering design standards exhibit A. The current town ordinance requires a minimum road width of 20 feet. While sufficient for general traffic, this width poses challenges for fire apparatus, access, and emergency response, particularly in critical situations requiring maneuverability. A review of the current road widths. Our current road widths are 20 feet at Hudson Hills, Eagle Ridge, 22 feet, McMakin, Dove Creek, Frenchtown, Gibbons, portions of East Jeter, 24 feet, Triple Crown, Deer Hollow, Hat Creek, Lakeview, Saddlebrook side streets, and Badminton. 25 feet, the new phase one of East Jeter, those are 25 feet currently. And then our widest roads are 30 feet, which is Kentucky Derby, Noble, Champton, and Trifecta. The reason for this change, safety standards, the National Fire Protection Association recommends a minimum of 24 feet roadway width for apparatus. And our recommendation amended the standards requirement to 24 feet for all roadways and significant renovations, if they have to do any renovations. This will improve public safety, streamline emergency responses, and create consistent infrastructure throughout the town. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer those. If not, I'll turn it over to Ryan Wells and let him do his presentation.
Okay. Well, I'm afraid you can hear a lot of the same things from me. You did a great job introducing this. So, this very brief presentation, again, is going to cover both of these planning items for you, a comprehensive plan amendment and the code of ordinances amendment referenced previously. So the comprehensive plan, section 4, is the overview of the thoroughfare plan. Not only does it include the map that you all have seen that show the different roadway classifications across the town, but it does assign the cross-section standards for the different roadway classifications: local road, minor collector, rural collector, and then there's the highway classification, which is really administered by TxDOT, so we don't have any standards for that as far as the road design. Then there's also aligned with that exhibit A, appendix A of exhibit 10A, which is the development ordinance of the town of Bartonville Code of Ordinances that regulates subdivisions and then the design of public infrastructure within those subdivisions. Appendix A or exhibit A, I wrote that there incorrectly, is the engineering design standards. And what that does is it basically tells developers how to build the roads in a very technical way. It looks at the drainage, it looks at the road depth section, as far as like how much concrete or asphalt you need and how much of base you need, what the treatment of the base is. So it's a very technical guidance document for the construction of new public infrastructure. So as Kirk said, the idea is to increase all road pavement widths to a minimum of 24 feet. This is the preferred standard for emergency response vehicles. It's also generally what you see in adopted provisions of the International Fire Code. If you see a fire lane in a commercial development, that generally has to be 24 feet. And usually you have certain turn radii associated with that as well. A side benefit of that, and I know it's very important to residents of Bartonville, it helped to maintain that rural character as well. Larger open streets and the landscaping and the shoulders, the bar ditches, that's really a design type that supports the rural character that Bartonville residents enjoy and value. And so that's kind of just a side benefit of updating these standards. So regarding the comprehensive plan, last update in 2023, this is a very minor update to portions of section 4, again, the thoroughfare plan, which describes the character and function of the town's transportation system. There are 3 street classifications in section 4 that have cross-section designs. The rural collector is already essentially a 70-foot right-of-way with 24-foot widths, but the minor collector was a 60-foot right-of-way with a 22-foot width, and the local road actually didn't have a design classification in that section. So what we are proposing with this comprehensive plan amendment, we're basically to update the minor collector to provide for that 24-foot pavement width, and then have a similar standard for the local road. There would be some depth standard differences in the development ordinance, but this is really just what you see that image there is called the cross section. That basically shows all the major elements of the road design and the required minimum widths. A developer could increase the width to more than 24 feet, but the minimum adopted in the comprehensive plan is what guides the standards in the development ordinance. And this basically states that you can't go below that 24 feet across the city. Moving over to the engineering design standards. Again, this is the technical document establishing those design requirements for roadways and associated drainage. The provided amendment language in the exhibit to the packet, that was provided by Christopher Shaw, our consulting city engineer. And what they do, these amendments provide for increased pavement width, similar to what is shown in that comprehensive plan amendment, that 24-foot wide travelway. It also updates the standards for the road base and the concrete strength standards. So when they build new roads, they actually have to have a certain kind of concrete mix. They take samples of that and they put it through a testing process to make sure it has a certain strength. And so the standards in the engineering design standards tell the developer and the town how strong that concrete has to be. It increases the concrete strength requirements because generally emergency response apparatus are only getting bigger and heavier for the most part. So you want to make sure that the infrastructure can support those larger vehicles. Then it also updates the drainage standards. Now, since maybe Ralph started serving on the planning and zoning commission, the engineering design standards for public roads and public drainage systems in Bartonville followed the standards that were adopted by the city of Louisville. And so what Christopher is recommending is basically just continuing that trend. He went in and found that the updated standards from Louisville incorporated the changes that would be applied to Bartonville's standards. And that's what you see in the track changes version in the exhibit in the packet. So the impact of these changes, all future development will be subject to the revised roadway and drainage standards. So if the brand new project comes in tomorrow, and were this adopted, actually it'll be after the council were adopted ultimately, they would be subject to those new standards. They wouldn't be able to build a 22-foot wide street anymore. Existing and underway projects could continue under the existing standards. Those are what's called vested, meaning they started the process already, and there's a legal protection for those projects whereby they can't come in and just change the standards on them, while they're under construction already. So those are vested. However, were the town ever to come in and do a major reconstruction of an existing street, then they have to do it, you have to be rebuilt under the new standards as well. So because of the comprehensive plan amendment and the development ordinance amendment, we did do a public notice for that. We published everything, all the required notices in the record chronicle on February 15th, plenty of time ahead of tonight's meeting. So we did meet all the public noticing requirements for both actions. So with that, staff is recommending approval of these proposed amendments, and we're happy to take any questions you might have.
Did you say that this is just for proposed roads coming in, not existing roads?
Right, there won't be any retroactive widening. The town could, of course, elect to do that, but there won't be any required retroactive widening of existing roads or any roads that are actually under construction by developers now that meet the standards that are currently in place as we speak today.
So this really applies to the new developments that are the few new developments.
That's right, yeah.
Going
Yeah.
on.
So we're doing this for safety, but most, probably over 90% of the roads won't meet it.
Well, Kirk could maybe speak to that. Again, the town would have to adopt a capital improvement program and assign funds to go back. The town can't require a developer of a previous project to go back and fix it now, right? They're done. But the town could certainly go back. It might need to require right of way.
The question based on that, just how effective this is going to be for what we're trying to accomplish.
Sure.
I mean, if you're looking at future development, we were talking not long ago, we're pretty much, what, 75–80% developed.
Sure, but at the very least, it'll ensure that anything in the future will meet the needs of emergency response. It may be a small amount, but it's better than to continue with the existing standards and find ourselves deficient, even if it's a new project.
And Commissioner Hayes, the reason this came up, and I'm with everybody to keep Bartonville country. The country feel is great, and that's why you had the 20 feet to keep it more rural. But if you go to Hudson Hills or Eagle Ridge, those new subdivisions, we're having to replace a sign at, from Bryan and Kentucky Derby. I gotta replace it again. It's been replaced 3 times because it's so narrow. You try and make a turn with a trailer and a truck, you're gonna hit it. The fire department is gonna have a difficult time. You put somebody on the road there, won't be able to get around. So it was allowed by ordinance, but I think it's best for us as we move forward with these new developments to have that safety feature. So that's why this was even brought up. Because I mean, if you go down, there was times I'm in a Tahoe, I gotta wait for the person to pull out before I could even pull around at a Romeo or Romero and Brian. So just driving around, I said, and then the mayor and I were actually driving, I said, wow, this is, and she agreed. And we actually went together and measured every road in the city, pretty much every road. And to answer your question, Commissioner Hayes, the majority of them are in compliance. I mean, they're 24 feet. We do have 22 feet of McMakin and Dove and a few others. And those were built obviously years ago, but like the new phase 1 of East Jeter's 25 feet, and phase 2 will be 25 feet, which that's coming up as well. But that was the reason for it. I hope I answered your questions, because it's very, if you go drive Hudson Hills, you'll see what we're talking. It just, because you're just going to continue to, I don't know if I need to put a baller there, so I don't know what we're gonna put a hard big old rock there to prevent it from getting knocked down. It's been knocked down 4 times already. And I gotta go back out and we gotta re-concrete it. And so anyway, that's the reason behind this. Is so difficult to get around. When you have a subdivision with this narrow roadways, it's just hard to maneuver.
In hindsight, we should have done this 5 years ago before all the new ones came in.
It would have been nice, yes, sir. Yeah, and you go to Trifecta, it's great. I mean, you got 9 homes, whatever, and it's wide and it still looks good. And then of course the big one, you got Noble Champion, whatever. So in looking at this, we could have recommended 26, but we did want to keep in mind the country feel. 24 as the fire, I got with Mung and he's agreed. And then we got some fire codes. I'm like, good, we have that to back up. But and most of them aren't gonna be parking on roads. I mean, that's the nice thing about out here, they're huge ranch style homes. So most people are gonna be parking in their driveway, which is nice. But I say that they can technically park on the road. And you have a party at Hudson Hills and line it up. We're not getting fire apparatus through there. Or police in it, so that's the reason.
Anybody else have questions? What increased depth, what will that do for the longevity of the roads?
Well, that'll certainly help them last longer. I mean, it's more structural stability, it's structural integrity. Heavy vehicles, dump trucks, garage, garbage trucks, things like that. It can withstand the repeated heavy weights. So you're not gonna have the cracking, you're not gonna have the spalling, the effects of having larger vehicles on those roads is gonna be delayed much longer. Because you have a greater depth and your rebar standards are up as well. Your rebar reinforcement is up from number 3 to number 4 bars, so you're looking at stronger integrity within the concrete as well.
Bring over the public hearing?
For item 1, this will be for item 1 first.
Yeah. Open public hearing. Where's Fox? Oh. 1, conduct a public hearing to hear public comment, discuss, and make a recommendation to the town council regarding an ordinance amending the town of Bartonville comprehensive plan, section 4, thoroughfare plan to update public road design standards. Town of Bartonville file number CPA 2025-001. Time being 6:49. Have we had any comments?
The town did not receive any written comments.
Is there anyone that wants to speak forward?
May I say something, sir?
Sure.
Good evening, my name is Marlon Ware, I'm the fire marshal for that county SD1. This is something I brought up years ago. About widening the road to the minimum 24. 26 is great, but 24 will work. A lot of the smaller towns and cities are going to that route because like Chief Rick said, apparatus fire trucks are getting bigger and bigger every year. Some of the smallest fire trucks are about 33, 34 feet long, weighing about 50,000. We're about to have 2 ladder trucks coming our way. One that's 35 feet with a 107-foot ladder, and the other one is 45 feet. So those things weigh 60 and 82,000 pounds. So that's why the depth and higher strength PSI concrete is stability of the concrete, the lifespan, the expansion of the lifespan. Not only that, like Chief said, over Hudson Hill, 20 feet wide, if you get a pickup truck, that's a dually, you're looking at 8 feet wide now with the fenders, and most of the guys can't even park close to the roadway, right? So they're already eating up 10 feet of the road. So at an apparatus, the fire trucks are between 8.5 feet wide, so it doesn't give us a lot of room to pass through. I've gone through there with my personal truck. I have to wait, like Chief said, I have to wait to get through there. And I'm actually really excited today, and when I saw this came up on the agenda, that we're doing the 24. Even if someone, like the Chief said, if they have a party and vehicle parks on the side road, we still got a lot of room to maneuver through there. Plus on the 20, that turning radius is terrible. That's what's happening, is taking off all the time. So like I said, this is something I've been working with all the towns. We got Martinville, Copper Canyon, North Lake, Argyle. So everyone has pretty much gone to this route, and I'm really excited there that I'm seeing this coming up. So I'm excited, and hopefully this will get passed tonight and we move forward. Like Chief said, our fire lane minimum 24 commercial, up to 26, depending on the height of the building, but 24 is our minimum. So we should do the same for our road. It gets better access for all of us, especially fire departments. Just like I said, just bigger. They get bigger and bigger every day, and they're not getting smaller. I've seen some of the new designs; they're getting bigger and longer. So that's all I have to say. If there's any question, I'll be happy to answer while I'm here.
Anybody? Thank you.
You go.
Anyone speak in opposition? And time being 6:52, we'll close the public hearing. Motion on,
I have just one question.
Okay.
I have just one question. So by us passing this, it doesn't mean that we have any liability to go back and for those streets that now there are issues with. I mean, not every street, even if it's 20 feet in a lot of areas where it's straight, that's still fine. But is the town gonna be liable for not updating that street now, once this is an ordinance, even though this is passed after it's been built? Now, if there's a party down there and our ordinance say this, are we liable in any way for not having tried to make this street up to standards?
Short answer is no.
Okay.
If the road was built and accepted under the standards in place at the time,
Completely fine.
then you're fine.
I'm ready. That's good.
motion,
A motion to pass as is what has been presented for item 1.
second. All in favor? Unanimous. All opposed? Anybody? Okay. Refer back to item number 2, conduct public hearing to hear public comments, discuss and make recommendations to town council regarding an ordinance amending the town of Bartonville Code of Ordinances, Exhibit 10A, Development Ordinance, Appendix A, Engineering Design Standards to update public road designs, standards and drainage standards, town of Bartonville, file number COA 2025-001. Time being 6:54, we'll open the public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak in favor? Anybody wish to speak in opposition? I'm assuming we didn't have anybody,
Correct, there was no
Okay.
written statement.
then we'll close the public hearing at 6:55. Any other questions? Motion,
I make a motion to, recommend acceptance of item number 2.
I will second.
all in favor? Unanimous. Future agenda items. Any things coming up?
We've had a couple submittals on the submittal date, and they'll be reviewed by the planner, and then based on that review, we'll decide what meeting date they go on.
Okay. And we're, unless everybody has anything else, we're adjourned at 6:55. Wasn't the shortest.
Can't believe since this is October, since we're having these.
Crazy. Crazy.
I would call Shannon or say, I'm not sure I can make it. You don't have anything on the agenda. So
We got the meeting.
Yeah, December, January, you know,
Oh, yeah.
really nice.
Very nice to meet you. Yeah. So I guess you're gonna be our.
Yes, P&Z and then our BOA or whatever.